Ladies and gentlemen, we interrupt our program of dance music to bring you a special bulletin from the Intercontinental Radio News. At 20 minutes before 8 Central Time, Professor Farrell of the Mount Jennings Observatory, Chicago, Illinois, reports observing several explosions of incandescent gas occurring at regular intervals on the planet Mars. The spectroscope indicates the gas to be hydrogen and moving toward the Earth with enormous velocity. Professor Pearson of the observatory at Princeton confirms Farrell's observation and describes the phenomenon as, quote, like a jet of blue flame shot from a gun, unquote.
It's Friday, October 25th, 2024, the Friday before Halloween. Welcome to episode 126 of the Alameda Postcast, an audio service of the Alameda Post. I'm your host, Scott Peeler, and as is my tradition, a little bit of the famous 1938 War of the Worlds broadcast. If you've never listened to it, there's a great opportunity Saturday thanks to the California Historical Radio Society. Details toward the end of the episode. In this edition of the Postcast, no Alameda Film Festival in 2025. Councilmember Trish Herrera Spencer responds to an incident in Long Beach. Property tax envelopes are a bit confusing. The San Francisco Bay Ferry continues down the path of electrification. Creeka Park Fire Tower looks a bit different these days. The Oakland Roots headed to the playoffs. A satirical look at Thanksgiving at Altarena Playhouse. Plus weekend events as we celebrate All Hallows Eve. These stories and more on this episode of the Alameda Postcast. Our top story. This past Tuesday, Alameda film buffs got some bad news. In an Instagram post, the Alameda Film Festival announced that the festival would not be happening in 2025. This caught people by surprise, especially in the wake of last year's festival, which screened over 40 films. The Instagram post explained that festival producers and the Alameda Theater and Cineplex, quote, were unable to reach an agreement on an equitable rental rate, end quote. Festival producers added that they felt the theater, quote, represents the only appropriate venue in our city. As such, we will need to suspend AIFF at this time, end quote. The festival's nonprofit organization, Anchor Alameda Association for Art and Film, will continue to sponsor and produce local arts events. For further details, plus a link to the organizer's website where you can keep track of those events, find the article at alamedapost.com/news. Last week, the 2024 League of California Cities Conference and Expo, an event for local government leaders, took place in Long Beach. The League of California Cities Conference attracts hundreds of leaders from all sections of city government, including mayors, council members, city managers, city clerks, attorneys, fiscal officers, and other staff. One of the attendees was Alameda Councilmember Trish Herrera Spencer. While there has been much speculation about the incident online, here's what is known for certain. At approximately 12:12 a.m., Long Beach police were dispatched to an incident just outside the Long Beach Convention Center. In a statement issued to the Alameda Post, Long Beach PD had this to say, quote, on October 18, 2024, at approximately 12:12 a.m., officers responded to the area of Pine Avenue and Broadway regarding an intoxicated female adult. Long Beach Fire Department personnel responded to the scene, provided medical treatment, and transported the individual to a local hospital, end quote. The individual was identified as Herrera Spencer. According to the LBPD information officer, there was no evidence of a crime being committed. In a statement later issued by Herrera Spencer, she insisted that she was, in fact, the victim of a crime. Quote, I have little recollection of the event. However, I believe I was the victim of a crime. I am still suffering from my injuries, including a concussion, end quote. She went on to say, quote, follow-up treatment at a local hospital ER department documented a concussion and abrasions and bruising to the top and side of my head, as well as bruises on the inside and outside of my arms. My medical provider explained that she was required by law to file a suspicious injury report, which is required when there's a reasonable suspicion that my injuries were from an assault or abusive conduct by a third person against me. Some of my personal belongings, including jewelry, are missing, end quote. Herrera Spencer is currently part of a 5-way race to fill 2 available seats on the Alameda City Council. This is still a developing story, and the Alameda Post will provide updates as details emerge. Find the story, including Herrera Spencer's full statement, in Kelsey Gore's article at alamedapost.com/news. As you may well be aware, it's property tax season. If you've received your statement, you might be a tad confused. The statements included a stop-and-read insert indicating payments are to be made to a San Francisco P.O. box, but the envelopes included went to Oakland. So which one's right? Actually, both are just fine. The San Francisco P.O. box is the P.O. box of the bank that processes the payments, so a change was made for efficiency's sake to send the payments there. However, when new envelopes were ordered, the printer neglected to change the address. So, what do? This is essentially a no-harm, no-foul situation. You can use the enclosed envelope to send your payment to the old Oakland address. It will be processed as normal. You can use your own envelope addressed to the new P.O. Box. You can drop off payments in person at 1221 Oak Street in Oakland, or you can pay online. Please be aware if you use a credit card to pay online, there will be a 2.3% fee added to that transaction. There's no fee if you link to a checking or a savings account. Obviously, the Treasurer's Office is taking a look at what went wrong, ensuring that it won't happen again. Find the whole story, including the proper addresses, both physical and online, at alamedapost.com/news. The San Francisco Bay Ferry already boasts the cleanest ferry fleet in America. They're not done yet. California State Transportation Agency has awarded the ferry a $12.5 million grant to bring zero-emission battery electric ferry service to the Harbor Bay Ferry Terminal here in Alameda. The award, announced Thursday, advances the Rapid Electric Emission-Free Ferry, or REEF, program. REEF's goal is to bring the entire system to a zero-emission state. Specifically, the Harbor Bay project will expand electric propulsion ferry service to the Harbor Bay route by providing the necessary infrastructure for fully electric ferries to rapidly charge while docked at the location. It also increases electric vehicle charging capacity for ferry riders and improves operational safety. The Harbor Bay route has carried more than 268,000 passengers the past year and more than 2.5 million passengers overall. The REEF program includes procurement of 3 new 150-passenger battery electric vessels, 2 new 400-passenger battery electric vessels, conversion of 4 diesel 400-passenger ferries to zero-emission tech, terminal electrification across the system, and expansion and electrification of the agency's Central Bay Operations and Maintenance Facility here in Alameda. Find the full article at alamedapost.com/news. Have you driven by Carica Park on Island Drive lately? You might have noticed a splash of color, and it has nothing to do with fall foliage. As far back as episode 51, we've talked about the plans for beautification of the old fire tower, which has been unused since the 1990s. Well, Sacramento-based artist John Horton is the man responsible for the colors in the mural, which is a deconstructed map of Alameda. It's an abstract representation, which invites you to interpret the artwork personally. Also on tap for the area around the fire tower, a sustainable landscape design with a focus on large trees and drought-resistant native plants. For a look at the work in progress, you'll want to see the pictures and article from Maurice Ramirez at alamedapost.com/features. The Oakland Roots soccer team headed to the playoffs for the third time in 4 years. They punched their ticket to the postseason last Saturday in Vegas thanks to a 3-2 win over the Las Vegas Lights. The USL playoffs get underway in November. The Roots have 1 game left on the regular season schedule against Alabama's Birmingham Legion at Pioneer Field in Hayward this Saturday. Birmingham currently on the outside looking in at the postseason, but has not been eliminated, so this should make for a good one. Details at alamedapost.com/sports. If you like your holidays with a side of satire, Altarena Playhouse has you covered. They're finishing the 2024 season with The Thanksgiving Play. The playwright, Larissa Fasthorse, is the first Native American woman to have a show on Broadway. This very show, The Thanksgiving Play. She takes a satirical look at the attempts of 4 very white creatives as they attempt to create a politically correct Thanksgiving pageant that honors both Thanksgiving and Native American Heritage Month. They don't bother to actually consult any indigenous people, so you can imagine the results. The show opens tonight, Friday, runs through November 24th. Tickets and info at altarena.org. I said up top that the California Historical Radio Society had a great opportunity for you. Tomorrow afternoon, Saturday, head to 2152 Central for their War of the Worlds listening event. They'll be playing the classic Orson Welles production through a restored vintage console radio. The event is free, and it starts at 3 p.m. Tonight, Friday, another cool event at the Society. They're hosting Bay Area radio icon Stan Bunger as he signs his new book, Mornings with Madden, My Life with an American Legend, drawing on almost 20 years of conversations Bunger had on the air with the great John Madden daily on KCBS. Details on our event's homepage, 94501.info. Other events this weekend, the annual Alameda Firefighters Pumpkin Giveaway from 2 until 5 at Franklin Park. The free event is open to children 12 and under, 1 free pumpkin per child with guardian present. ARPD's annual Teen Haunted House, Friday through Sunday. More events at 94501.info. Find the Alameda Post on all the usual social media outlets and get the Postcast wherever you find your podcasts. I'm Scott Peeler. I'll be back next week with episode 127, and in keeping with the season, the last word goes to Orson Welles.
So goodbye, everybody, and remember, please, for the next day or so, the terrible lesson you learned tonight. That grinning, glowing, globular invader of your living room is an inhabitant of the pumpkin patch, and if your doorbell rings and nobody's there, that was no Martian, it's Halloween.